Good morning, everybody. I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials, and for those of you who are catching us on Facebook, you can see that we are in our regular page Facebook feed again. So if you have been wondering, where the heck has Melissa been? So we've actually been doing a live video every week, but we've been in the Ask Melissa and Eric group, and we're toying with coming back to the main feed just because we like more participation, and we seem to get more participation that way. So let's get through some announcements really fast. We're having a 40% off sale between now and Friday in our shop. So if you're watching us on Instagram, you can hop over to our bio, and the link is at the top of our links there. If you are catching us on Facebook, it's just in our shop. So it's melissanielsen.com/store, I believe. Kelly will put that link in the bio, or a link in the comments. So it's 40% off everything except for Thinking, Feeling, Willing, because we don't do that anymore. Watch for Thinking, Feeling, Willing to go live again, probably in May. We'll be adding some things, and the price is going to go up just a little bit, but we're adding some things to it. So the reason why we're having the sale that we're having now is because we are going to have a tiny price increase. It will be tiny for curriculum. It will be a little bit more for the kindergarten curriculum because we just added a giant piece to it, the circle time creation part, and that's like kind of doubling. It's kind of like doubling the whole program. So the price for that is going to go up as well. So this is a really good time to take advantage of any of your curriculum needs if you are not already a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member. And somebody asked me, why won't you do a sale on hard copies? Here's the deal. If you want hard copies cheaper, become a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member. Our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members get all the hard copies they want right now for free after they spend $100 and get a hard copy membership, and they get all their hard copies for life for free. So if you want hard copies, become a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member. Otherwise, you can pay the cost on our publisher's website. I will say that those prices are going up a bit too. So it's kind of like having a sale right now because they're the regular price. Okay, so that's all out of the way. Let's talk about Management Mom. And I've got two cameras going, so sorry I'm looking back and forth between the two. Let's talk about being in Management Mom mode. And if you caught my email last night, I talked about it a little bit. I said that I was going to be a little transparent about some things that are going on in our lives. Not too much though, and really not too much just because I want to sort of protect some of the people that are going through it with us. And it's not important to have details. It's just important to know that we've been there. We've been there recently. But first, let's talk about, so what is Management Mom mode so that you know if you're in it. So Management Mom mode, I would characterize, it shows up in different ways for different people. For me, it shows up differently now than it did maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, just because of where I'm at in my life. I'm 46, and there are things that are really easy for me to manage, and it's not a big deal. So part of that's part of my temperament. And I'm sort of out of the place of yelling a lot. So, but Management Mom mode often looks like you are yelling a lot. You are feeling very depleted. You are frustrated at what's going on in life and not feeling like things are going the way you need them to. You might be feeling apathetic about some things, like you've decided that having goals doesn't matter. Disciplining doesn't matter. Positive parenting doesn't matter because these kids are going to do whatever the heck they want to do anyway. And so you feel like maybe you've given up. And you're just sort of slogging through every day. And so with that comes sort of your attitude and how you're feeling about things. With that comes sort of how you're showing up and acting to your partner and to your children. And it shows up in, it'll show up in your main lesson work because you're not prepping the way you want to be. And like you have this internal feeling that you know that something's off, but you just can't figure out how to fix it. You maybe had a really good rhythm and you were feeling really good about things, and And often what I see happen is moms will start the year off feeling really good, the school year off. So, August, September, October felt really good. November, it felt good generally too, because you're getting ready for the holidays. And so then there's this like momentum behind that, and you might be scrambling, but you're feeling really good. And then sometime after the holidays, something happened, and it starts to feel like you are just managing everything. Like, oh, I got to make another meal, or oh man, why is there so much laundry? Or it's just like you can't get your footing under you again. And so you slog through January, and here you are in almost the middle of February, and you're thinking, okay, wait a minute. I am missing something. Something doesn't feel right. I am really angry and frustrated. I'm angry at everybody. I don't want to show up this way, and I'm trying to sort it all out. Or maybe you had a birth or a death or a major traumatic family event like we did, and it snuck up on you. And you, for a while, you were just doing this management thing to sort of get by. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, that's been my go-to. That's how I'm just showing up, and that's not how you want to show up. So management mom mode is sort of the space when you are acting outside of your temperament in some ways, or acting like the hardest, worst parts of your temperament are showing up more, rather than you feeling more balanced, you feeling more like you're in control of yourself, in control of your mouth, in control of how you show up. And you might feel like you are then having this like iron grip on everything around you, because if you don't, then it's just going to fall apart. And so like what we really want to dig into today is like, how do you dig out from that space? How do you dig out from that place of like feeling that way? And I've got a comment over here. Blessed with Pigtails says, describes me right now. This talk comes at the perfect time. I hope so. I hope that we can really help dig in for you. Dig in for you. Do you have anything over there?
Oh, Dina Ross says, that's me.
Well, so the first question is to, like when I realize that I'm in it, I step back and go, okay, where's like the event that tipped me over the edge? Because there's generally something that tips you over the edge. If you feel like you've always shown up this way, then you've got to sort of step back and ask yourself other questions like, how do I want to show up? And I would definitely go back and watch our Know Thyself training that we did last fall, and sort of really understand yourself and really understand like who you are. So I would do that. That you can get that training in our Ask Melissa and Eric group. You can also get it on our YouTube channel. So I think that's where it's at. It's on our YouTube channel. And actually, if you're on Instagram, I think it's in the bio links. So asking yourself sort of how you got there is really like the first piece. Like, okay, where did it go awry? And sometimes it just happens because there's all this, like maybe there's a ton of activities coming at you and you're like, oh, I just have to manage it. I just have to get through it. Once I get through it, but then you get through it and you didn't go back to where you needed to be. And, or if you have like an ongoing traumatic event like we have, you feel like, okay, well, next week it's going to be better. Like these are the things I have to do to like get up and get through this week. And then next week it should be better, but next week isn't better. And then you have to decide, hey, okay, wait a minute. The only way it's going to get better is if I change some things, if I figure it out. I have to figure out within me what's going on with how I'm showing up and how I'm feeling through things. And once you do that piece, then you can tackle the next piece. So once you sort of understand and know within yourself, hey, something's off. This is where I feel like it went off. And talk to your partner. Being transparent with your partner is so, so important. Often when we're in management mom mode, we're not sleeping enough. We're not getting the rest we need. And that just compounds it. So I'm not talking about what happens like in those dreamy, sleep deprived places after you have a baby. That wanes, that goes away. Um, and your sleep gets better generally. And, we've had some exceptions where, like Soraya didn't sleep for the first 18 months of her life. So I get that. I get that. But in general, when we are in management mom mode, it's like we can't breathe out. We can't breathe out and truly enjoy things, or we might truly enjoy some pieces, but everything else feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket. So recognizing it, I think, is super important. Once you've recognized it and you recognize, hey, this is not how I want to show up. This is not the mom that I want to be. This is not, especially if you find yourself telling people you're an attached mom or you're a positive parent, but you're actually not acting that way. You might want to check yourself. And then you have to sort of let go of like the guilt about it, because I had to tell you, the guilt is like huge. The guilt is a huge piece, and I totally understand feeling super guilty about the way you're showing up. Maybe you're not being as kind as you could be to your partner. Maybe you are being like just not nice to your kids, or maybe you just really hate yourself. Totally been there. Totally been there. So once you've sort of realized that you're there, figured out when it happened, reminding yourself, okay, how do I want to show up? Because it doesn't do you any good to, spend your 30 seconds of guilt, spend it, live it fully, stand in it for 30 seconds. You can beat yourself up for 30 seconds, and then you can set yourself a timer even if you need to. But then you have to step out of it and go, okay, I create my reality. So when I create my reality, I need to show up the way I want to show up and not in my default mode. What happens with default mode is it may not be your total temperament default. It may not, but it may be like what's become default since you become this management mom. So when you're in this space, you have to sort of go back and really ask yourself, like, what is it that I like? How do I want to show up? And you may have to really meditate on that. You may have to spend some time really thinking about like how you're wanting to show up, and especially like for us this time, like for me this time, I've been in management mom mode in years past. This was very different because it involved a lot of like trauma and hurt and mental exhaustion and emotional exhaustion. And so for me, it was very much like, I love what I'm doing every day. I love the work that I do, and I was able to show up for the most part for that. But the parts that are not so fun about my job, I was like, I could just do that tomorrow. So procrastination is huge when you're in management mode. And that was one thing that I was like, wait a minute, that's not who I am. I'm not this person who procrastinates things. I'm not this person who puts things off, or who doesn't like own that it's happening. So once you sort of realize that space and remember who you want to show up as, then and after you've had your little pity party, then you have to start digging your way back to who you want to be. So it starts with finding things, and you can make yourself a list, because the list I find immensely helpful. I'm a list maker. Eric is not a list maker. He's a list in his head maker. But there are times where I'm like, nope, dear, sorry, you have to make a list. And it always helps, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. So I get yourself some Post-its, or sit down with your bullet journal or whatever. Start making a list of things that make you immensely happy. And I'm not just talking about a little bit happy. I'm not just talking about getting up by yourself and having a cup of joe before your kids get up. That's sort of happy. I'm talking about like make you laugh happy. And that's when I realized for me, okay, this is where I need to be. This is where I show up the best. This is where I feel the best. And this feeling right here is what I need to have more of. And so for me, it's different. It's like when I tell y'all what mine was, you're probably like, oh, you're so crazy, lady. So the day before my birthday, we went to Disneyland, and I have to tell you, I probably go there for myself more than my children. Eric and I have spent weekends there, just the two of us. because it's a place where you don't have to think a whole lot. And you can have a lot of fun. And so for me, that was where that day was when I realized, okay, wait a minute. I've had so much fun today, and I'm usually like the let's go have fun person. But this is the first time I've really had fun in a long time. So when I was making my list, I had to go, okay, what things make me feel that good? And there's a list of things that make me feel that good. There's definitely things that make me excited and, that I don't have to drive 90 minutes to go do. So make yourself your list. Make your list, and it might only have 5 things on it. It might have 25 things on it. And then you have got to get really good at checking off and doing one of those things every day, even if it's just for a short period of time. So like for myself, I had noticed that in this period of trauma that we had been going through, I hadn't been doing a lot of handwork. I hadn't been, I hadn't been spending that time to just breathe out and just for 30 minutes a day of doing handwork. I hadn't been, like we live 3 blocks from the beach, and I hadn't been to the beach every day. And so, I got myself back into a space of this is what I need to do every day. So pick your things. Do you need to go on a hike? I know that really lights some of you up, like going on a hike. And even if you're in frozen polar vortex and you need to be outside, find a way to get outside every day. So go through your list, make your list, go through your list, and figure out something every day that makes you sublimely happy. As in, when you sit down to do it or when you go to do it, your heart is swelled and you breathe out and it puts a gigantic smile on your face. A smile so big that your kids are like, dang, Mom, what's going on? I know Harry last Friday was like, this lady's having a lot of fun. he was a little surprised. I'm not sure that I had been that happy. Like, I've had happy times, but I think that to him it was, he was like, wow, you haven't been this happy since I came home from his mission. So, and that's been, over a year. So I was able to recognize that. So recognizing it and finding the sublimely happy places is key. If for you, when being in management mom mode has you all off your rhythm, for us it didn't, and I think it's just because, it's because I have lived rhythm for 20 years. Maybe not 20, but close to it. And so it's easy for me to step back into sync with rhythm. Like I can do it like that. It's not a big deal. All I have to do is say, this is what we're doing, and then we do it. But that's because I've been doing it for a long time. If I were a mom that was not where I am in my journey, I could absolutely see that being in management mode would completely throw off your rhythm. So if that is the case for you, you have to make a decision. I am going to govern my rhythm, and then do it. Absolutely do it. And even though it's going to feel forced and frustrating and your kids are going to buck up against it the first few days, get through that first week of you governing your rhythm. And just be really strong about it. And it's going to feel constricting like a schedule for that first week. But once you get through it, you get to the end of the first week and you can say to yourself, okay, this is what worked. This is what didn't. This is what needs to be tweaked. Now I can get going on the second week. The other thing I want you to do is have a family meeting. Have a family meeting and go, hey, I have not been showing up my best self. I'm trying to fix that. I need everybody's help. And then at the end of that first week, come back and have another family meeting and go, okay, this is what worked. This is what didn't. I understand, Johnny, you're really irritated at me about X, Y, and Z. And Susie, you're really irritated that we had broccoli 3 times this week. Whatever it is, have that family meeting and then make that plan for the next week. Having the family meeting is a really good way to knit you guys together as a family and to stay together. Because what happens when we're in management mom mode is that we often kind of, excuse me, but don't give a damn what anybody else is thinking. We just need to get through it. And so to be in that place really messes with family unity. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Rachel Howard Felder says, how do you plan that schedule? Staying on it is so hard.
First, I would go back and keep track of your actual. So I talk about doing that. And in fact, there's a whole Monday video on my secret to rhythm is keeping track of your actual rhythm for a week. Once you keep track of your actual, you can see where your time is actually going. And my bet is if you're in management mom mode and you think you are so busy, I would bet you dollars to daisies that you're actually checking out more than you think you are. Because when you're in management mom mode, you find all kinds of reasons to check out. Oh, I just got to check this thing on my phone. Oh, I'm just going to step in here for a few minutes, and a few minutes turns into 20 minutes. Or, oh, I'm just going to play Candy Crush for a little bit. Or, oh, I'm just going to sit here on Instagram for 4 hours. Oh, you know, there are things that you do when you're in management mode that you don't do normally. And you may do them normally, but in a much smaller, rate than you would do them when you're in management mode. So keeping track of your actual is a really good idea. And then you just have to harness it. Hear me. Put on your big girl panties and say, I'm in charge. I drive the boat. What I say goes. And you just drive it. There are going to be people that are going to be disappointed and upset at you. And guess what? It's okay. What was that quote the other day? Sometimes when living our priorities, I put this on Instagram. Sometimes when living our priorities, we disappoint other people. Sometimes those people are our children. As long as you're not hurting anybody and you are the one that needs to drive the boat, drive it. I'm giving you permission right now. Make yourself, for all of you who are struggling, there's a challenge. In fact, I would love for you to do it, take a picture of it, either post it on Instagram and tag me or send me a picture of it. And we'll just do hashtag mom driver's license. Make yourself a boat driver's license and put it in your pocket. You drive the boat, not anybody else. You drive it. Even if you have got differing schedules and a partner that's not on board and all kinds of things, all kinds of reasons, honey, I love y'all. They're excuses. You drive it. Own it. Own it. That's the only way you get out of it, is to own it. Is to own that the spot that you're in it because you allowed yourself to get in it. I get it. I have just been having that very same heart-to-heart with myself. So I get it. So once you have gotten to that place of you've wrangled your rhythm, you've decided this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, then you're just in the refining place. You're in the refining your rhythm place. You're in the refining that space of, okay, I was in management mode, this worked before. And that's a great place to start. Start with what worked before. If you had something that worked before. If you didn't, then you are starting fresh. And starting fresh is fun. So tell yourself it's fun. Don't tell yourself it's hard. If you tell yourself it's hard, guess what? It's going to be hard. Refine, refine, refine. And then knit yourself together with your family. Have those family meetings every week. That really helps with morale. It helps with camaraderie. People say, how do you get your people to have family meetings every week? Well, right now it's really easy because I only have 2. But you know what? I have 5 children, y'all. Oh, we've had some crazy family meetings, haven't we, dear?
Oh, yep.
Crazy family meetings. So this is my secret. Feed them. They can't talk a whole lot or argue a whole lot when they're eating. So often what happens on Sunday is I will make sure that we're having a meal at by 5. Sometimes on Sunday we eat a little bit earlier and it's a more drawn out process. Especially for Samuel.
Last night Sam came up with a joke that about derailed the whole meeting.
Yes, he did. My goodness, my 12-year-old. Wow. But so no, I make dinner and then I get everybody seated and then I grab my calendar on the wall. I make sure Dad's got his calendar. Our secret is our calendars are synced. So that means that in order to properly sync your calendar, listen up. You all have to be logged into the same Google Calendar. If you're using Google Calendar or whatever calendar you're using, you have to all be logged into the same calendar. And you can have varying profiles on your phone. So like Eric's got his own Google profile, but we're all synced to the Waldorf Essentials calendar. And when we had teenagers at home with phones, guess what? They were too, because if they put something on the calendar, I wanted to be able to see it. So I knew how it was going to affect the rest of us. So if you've got family members that are not like playing ball, put your foot down, Mom. Come on, put your foot down. Nobody else is going to put their foot down. You and dad have to govern. And it's not about being like totalitarian or anything like that. I tell my children that this is a benevolent dictatorship, even when they're adults. As long as you live under my roof, this is a benevolent dictatorship. If you would like to have a voting party say in things, if you'd like to have be a voting member, then you have to contribute financially to the overall well-being. And most of them are like, maybe I should just get my own place. Yes, you should. That's how you become your own voting member. So really, and a lot of you I know are not nearly in that space, but you'll get to that place and you'll be like, oh, this is what Melissa was talking about. So, you've gotten this rhythm, back to our management mom conversation, you've gotten this rhythm down. You're doing something every day that makes you happy. I'm going to suggest that you also pop in a meditation every day. Now, I have a lot of favorites. Right now, Eric and I are listening to the 21-day Deepak Chopra abundance meditation to help with some mindset issues that we have. So if you are somebody who thinks that there is not enough of everything, and I'm not just talking about money, but time, and you're struggling with all of those things, I suggest you hop over to YouTube when I'm done talking and you look up, just do the search term, Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation, and it will come up. He's got a great little playlist of all of them in order. So you just start with number 1. It's 21 days. And guess what? When you get to the end of 21, go back and start with 1 again. Just go through them all. Just keep going. It takes about 15 minutes out of your day every day. That's it. Y'all have 15 minutes to put into yourselves. If you don't, you really need to ask yourself why. Why are you not taking the time to really connect with who you are? Because that's how you're going to make the change that you need to make. Like getting through that management space is staying hard. Staying hard. If you're in management mom mode because you lost someone, because you've had trauma in your life, I wish I could give you a big hug, as I totally get it. It's not fun. And it has brought us to our knees a lot this year. A lot. But you can't stay here. You can't stay here. You have to walk on. It's not a fun place to be, but recognize that you're here and decide to do something different. Walk forward. It is for your children. If you have been in a trauma situation over one child, remember that you have other children and that you have to walk on for them and for your partner. And that if you stay stuck, you're not helping anybody. So walk forward, one step at a time, a little bit every day. And pretty soon you'll be at a place where you're like, wow, that was awful. And I don't ever want to be there again. But now I'm walking forward. And you will feel the love of everybody around you. If you are there now, I'm going to challenge you today to feel the love of your children, to feel the love of your partner. And if you are in struggles with your partner, you better get your fanny over to our Parents Who Thrive site and hop on Thrive, because that starts on Saturday. And you don't want to live in the space of not feeling good. So feel the love of people around you today. If you are struggling with the people who are in your house, call your mom, call your best friend, call somebody who you know loves you and say, I just need to feel some love today. And let them love on you. Don't judge it. Just love it. And breathe deep. And breathe all that nasty stuff. I was about to swear. Out. Breathe it out. And come back to center. You can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. I have done it over and over again. You find yourself in management mom mode at several different times in your parenting. And knowing that you're there and pulling back from it is huge. Do I have anything else over there, mister?
Nope.
All right, y'all. I'm closing for now. we will hopefully, because if you joined us and you're like, wait a minute, where's the special needs talk that I thought we were having? We had some scheduling difficulties, so hopefully we'll have somebody next week, and we will resume our special needs conversations. And but I really felt like this was a good time to break into there and talk about it. You know, we've gone through some things, and I know that there are many others that have gone through things too. So if you are like waiting on emails from me, I'm sorry, I'm getting there. This is a new week, and I have a whole list of things that I'm getting done this week, so hopefully I will catch up. If you are you know, if you didn't join us at the beginning and so you didn't hear this, we do have 40% off until Friday on everything in the store except for Thinking Feeling Willing. And it's only on digital. Like I said, if you want hard copies, become a Thinking Feeling Willing member. Then you get hard copies at a very cheap price. And but yeah, I think that's all. Anything else over there?
We have Peggy McLaughlin and Kelly Saylor. Thank you for what we talked about today.
You're welcome, ladies. Love you all. I hope you have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you later.